A lot of these items I got from the most recent Ollie's shop, and I really want to use these two in a card because this one is double-faced and I have ideas, and this one is transparent and I have ideas, and I wanted to use them in a card. So I looked at all the card faces that we've made over time. What would you use this style for? What do you think? These are the ones that we've made during the live stream where we're testing things and we're seeing what works and what doesn't work. And I've selected these 4 to be part of the card today because I have a lot of these fern ones because we were doing a lot of tests with these fern cards. And my lives are amazingly fun. I go live absolutely every Friday at 9:30 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. And we just have an interactive crafting session where I'm trying something new. And this Friday should be a lot of fun because it's going to be Noob with a Cricut Joy. These are the items that I'm going to be using today to make a card. And I saw this really cool technique in a Facebook reel, because Facebook is loving to show me art reels right now, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying they are. But there's lines on this that if you line up your card at those lines, like here and here, here and here, here and here, where the little indentation for the opening is, and then all the way down, you get different levels of semicircles, and they're consistent. So that's what I'm going to try to do, but I want to try it first on this to see if my proof of concept works. So I'm going to start by making a circle here, and that's going to be a full circle. And I do my cuts upside down so I can see what's lined up. So there's 2 right there. Now, the idea is that I can take these and I can stack them and have differing amounts of the background showing each time I stack it. Or I can take these and cut these out. So there, and then I can stack it so that that is perfectly lined up with the top, but you see a differing amount. Now, wouldn't that be cool to use for like a moon effect, or even to make a moon shaker out of this? That would be so cool. All right, so that's the idea. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to do this with these fern cards. And I want to go from lightest to dark, from darkest to lightest. So I want the darkest to be the largest circle. And then I want the rest of them to be smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think I'm going to use the protruding part on this side. I don't know if that, I think that's the embossed side. And I think I'm going to use the inside part, or the debossed side. I think that's the right term. If it's not the right term, let me know. I think that when it's sticking out, that's the embossed side, and when it's going in, it's the debossed side, but I'm really not sure about that terminology. But these are the ones that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use this one as the biggest hole, and then I'm going to use the debossed side as the next one, the embossed light one as the next one, and then this one as the smallest one. So let's see how this works. This could be great. This could be awesome. This could be wonderful. This could be a complete failure. So, but the whole idea is that I'm going to use these 2 ribbons, this double-sided one and double-faced one, and this transparent one. And of course, if I do mess this up, that's not a big deal because I can always reuse all of these materials later for something else. And then the next one that I wanted was the debossed, this one. So now I've got these 2 pieces and these 2 pieces. And the idea is that I can just stack these this way. Now, I don't know if it's going to work out, but we're going to try this. I've got those 3, and now I've got this one. So I've got the 4 little semicircles, and I've got these 4 little pieces right here. So they sit together just like that. So this card is definitely going to have dimension because that is 4 pieces of embossed cardstock all stacked up one on top of the other. And I think it looks okay. I really do. I think that looks pretty cool with the little semicircles lining up, and there's differing levels of ink on them. This one is awfully close to this one. So I'm going to add a little bit more ink. And this ink came from Journal Say. And if you look at the link in the description, there is a Journal Say affiliate link that if you use it, I get a teeny tiny little bit of percentage of your purchase. It doesn't cost you any extra. And there's also a Journal Say code. It's Chatty Crafty, all one word, all capitalized, to get you a little discount on it. I want to make sure this is the same color that I used last time. Yeah, that is. Okay. So I'm going to just make this a little bit darker. Add a little bit to this so it's got a little bit more pizzazz and pjumph to it. I don't think pjumph is a word, but that's okay. I make up words, and I'm okay with making up words. I forgot to put a piece of paper underneath this to catch the extra ink. This is one of my tricks. I keep my little moist towelette, the little baby wipes that I use, inside this medicine bottle, and they stay moist for quite a while. I can use one for about 2 weeks before I actually have to get rid of it, because eventually they get to the point where they're just not usable anymore because they're so dirty that they're not taking ink away, they're leaving ink behind. All right, so there's that one, then that one, then this one, and finally this one. And that does go in a different, in a more ombre order, a more ombre effect. And I like that this one's debossed and that one's debossed and this one's embossed. I think that looks pretty cool. I very much do. And before I change my mind, I'm going to tape all this together. Oh, no, I can't tape it all together yet. That's where the ribbon comes in. Oh, I forgot. This is where the ribbon comes in, because I'm going to make this dark decorated with these ribbons. And I'm hoping that it looks really cool when I'm done. I have this idea in my head, and I'm hoping that this looks really cool when I'm done with it. So this is what the transparent ribbon looks like over it. And I think that's cool, but this is what the transparent ribbon looks like over the other ribbon. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't think that's enough of a contrast. Let's see what other ribbons I bought. Ooh, I have this shiny green one. I wonder if that will work. This is another one that I bought at the Ollie's, in the most recent Ollie's trip. See, this is my style of crafting. I just sit here and I test and I play and I examine and I look around. Let's see. Now see, that's really pretty, but it would be even prettier if the green were whiter. But I'm going to try it this way. I'm definitely going to try it this way. I want to see if this works. And that's what it'll look like with the pink over the top of it. Oops, that one came undone. Honestly, I think that's pretty. So we've got interest in that. Glitter, shine. It's really pretty. I like it. I think it could be better, but this is proof of concept, and I like it. I think that's a good starting point. There. I like it. I think that's cool. I think that is a nice little bit of joy and happiness on there. Now, since this already has so much dimension, I am going to put this together with a flat, double-sided tape. This is just flat tape, and I get these from Temu. There's so many different varieties and ways that you can buy this. This is my favorite one, which is about 1 centimeter, so it's about 1/2 inch wide, and it's really a good one. It's not as perfectly lined up as I wanted it to be, but if I pull it off now, I'm going to have to redo everything. But I think it'll still work. The reason I'm not doing the trick where you pull it off part way and then line it up and then push it down is because since this is going on embossed paper and not flat paper, I have found that the part where you pull out the extra piece, you know, it's like this and it's all together, and then you pull this out. Sometimes it will take the tape with it because it's not as securely stuck to the embossing paper, the embossed paper, as it would be to flat paper. There we go. And that's how it looks, just like so. Now, these are ones that I did in my last live when I was using the toner. And this just because, actually, even though it is just the outline that has the gold on it, it's on the entire thing. So I'm going to use that one as the sentiment for this card. And I'm definitely not the best fussy cutter out there, but I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to round up that little bit right by the B first because that needs to be a little more rounded. And then I think that's good to go. There we go, just like so. And it's just going to sit right in there inside all of that. And I'm going to put 1 millimeter foam tape behind the just because it's going to be raised up a little bit. And then I'm going to put 2 double-sided tape on the because it's going to, because the just is going to be on that 3rd layer and the because is going to be on that 2nd layer. And of course, my 1mm foam tape that I buy in rolls that are this size off of Temu for $5.60. When you do that, you want to search for 50-meter mounting tape and then sort it by price low to high, and it will show you the ones that come direct from China, because that's the way to get this stuff really at a really good price. And there it is. Not straight. Oh no, let's see if I can get it off and fix it. There we go, just because. And it's got a little bit of glimmer and a shimmer there. I know what I can do. Is this wide enough? Yeah. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. All right, I need my chopper to do this because I want a perfectly straight line. There we go. And now, because it really doesn't look right to have it just there, I'm going to stick another one. I'm going to see if I can stick another one right underneath the just because. This could be interesting. This could be very, very interesting. I actually had this piece of glitter paper out for another idea that I scrapped before I even started making the video, so it was kind of apropos to have it out. I think that's a cool fix for having to cover up that little bit that I had down there. That is pretty stinking awesome. And now this is going to go onto this card base. This is one of those Brazil card bases that I picked up in one of the ollies somewhere along the way. But I am going to have to cut off some of it. And I'm always going to have to cut off the top. So I need my guillotine for this, because this little one will not go through that much paper effectively. So here comes up my guillotine. All right, so I need to cut off a little bit from each side of this one, and I need to cut off the top. Not sure how I'm going to get those to stick down. I don't think this was thought out very well. Let's cut off a little bit more off the top so that I have more to work with instead of just those little bitty points. Well, I still have little bitty points, but they're lower on the card. There we go. So this is how this one's going to go down. My problem is I don't have really any glue out, and that is so high up. I think I may just end up cutting off those little bits and just having it be a semicircle at the top, because I don't see any way to put this as a card so that it can be opened and closed numerous times while people are writing on it and such, and have it have those little blips at the edge. Well, we'll see how it looks, because it hurts me to do this, but I don't see any other way to do this because I don't have any glue that I can just stick those down with. And since they're the top layer, they're going to be the highest up on the card. So get some little fussy cutters out and do that. Actually, not bad. I think because the card base is green, that doesn't look that horrible. I like it. I think that's very cool, with the little just because being all glittery and shiny, and these other two pieces that complement it, and this beautiful little pink transparent ribbon with the green on. I like it. I do. I like it. And so what I have here is a piece of cardstock that I'm going to use for the inner sentiment. I'm going to cut this down because this is too big. Should have cut down this side. This side was wonky. And then cut down this so that there's room for the sentiment on the inside. So that's a place for the sentiment on the inside right there. Put those strips down there. So there we go. So there's my corners. And now for the sentiment on the inside, I pulled out two that say, "You're on my mind, and how are things?" So this card is a very supportive card. It starts out with just because. You open it up and says, "You're on my mind, how are things?" So those are going to be offset on this. So one there, "You're on my mind, how are things?" So I want to set these up so that I get them where I want them to be before I even put them on the block. And then I'm going to take out my big block. And this is going to be the one. Which one do I like better? I like this one better. So we're going to use that one. And now I'm going to get out my little cloth from my little medicine bottle. I'm going to wipe all this off. And then I'm going to put my stamps away, because I have learned that if I do not put my stamps away immediately, I will lose them. I've had to reorder a couple of my favorite stamp sets because I've lost stamps off of them. And that just really irked me that I had to do that. So here we go. Here's How Are Things. It goes right there. And then Thinking You're on My Mind goes right here. And this entire set came from Temu. This is a Temu set of stamps, and they work really well. So I really like them. I've used them quite a bit. They're one of the ones that's near the top in my sentiment drawer. This is my favorite picker. I got it from Temu. I love this curved angle to it, and it lights up if I need extra light to look for something. There we go. And then the same thing for this. Ta-da! One completed card. Just because you're on my mind, how are things? Just because you're on my mind, how are things? Nice little supportive card. You know, something nice to send through the mail. Something that hopefully makes the recipient smile. And then the studio part. There it is right there. So the next thing and the last thing to do is to pack this thing up. And I have a little cellophane bag with the Icky Sticky on it. I do not like the Icky Sticky, but the Icky Sticky does come in handy when you're trying to pack up greeting cards. I will say that. Right there, I'm letting that dry a little bit because that's a pretty oily ink right there, and it will smudge if I don't let it dry. And then it's just a matter of packing it up. Give that a little woof, make sure it's all nice and dry. Put the envelope there. Slide this into the wrapper. I got these wrappers off of a company called Clear Bags. Temu does sell them as well, but it's nice to order from Clear Bags because Clear Bags will send you a sample and you can see if it's actually what you want. It's actually the size that you want to have. So that's a nice thing about it. But there it is. There's the card all packed up and ready to go. Ta-da! Maybe. At the very end. This is stupid icky sticky strips. Seriously? Go away. And there it is, just like so. You're on my mind, how are things? Just because. Got a nice little shimmer to it. Got a little bit of shimmer there, a little bit of shimmer there. And in all honesty, this would make a really cool holiday card too. You know, same idea, just use red, and green. Or, you know, you could even do it as blue and silver, or you could do it as gold and silver. You know, it'd be really pretty just build up that way as a holiday card. What would you use this style for? What do you think? Let me know. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate every one of you. Cheers and happy crafting.